What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. This is episode 3. You know what I mean? Episode 3. Shouts out to everybody who's been subbing, everybody who's been commenting, sharing, telling me that you love what we doing over here. I said this before, I'm gonna say it again. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of that. I didn't know how important that was when not when I first started, before I started. I used to always hear people say, yo, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It does a lot for our channel. So with that being said, let's get into it. The K-Dot versus Drake shit is pretty much over. You know what I'm saying? Top Dog, you know, he put a tweet out there and he said this battle, the battle is over. You know what I mean? It's a win for the culture while keeping it all on wax. Especially when these publications try to make it something else, we proved them wrong. That's a win within itself. And I gotta salute that, right? And the reason why I gotta salute that is because I seen a lot of people trying to egg it on like it was more than it actually was. You feel me? Like I seen one time Academics, you feel me? Academics, him and Whack 100, they were on stream and they was going back and forth, not in a like crazy way, not in nothing bad, but they were just basically having a conversation and Ack was saying, you know them Toronto motherfuckers, they like that or whatever. And Whack's whole thing was like, yo, bro, ain't nobody even on that. Like, it's some rap shit. It's gonna stay some rap shit. It's not gonna go no further. You feel me? And I think that it was a lot of other publications. Like I seen Ebro, you know what I mean, saying, he said something about Drake antagonizing the Tupac situation, and Tupac had died for some real street shit. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, stop it. Like, this is not Tupac and Biggie. This is not that at all. This is something that everybody been waiting on for a long time, and let's just keep it that way. But I'm happy to see that it ended the way it did. You feel me? With that being said, though, you know, we gotta check on our guy J. Cole. You feel me? Like, J. Cole in all of this, I'm happy he bowed out, right? Because when you look at the overview of everything, J. Cole went from being in the middle of it to basically saying, I don't want no parts. And everybody was ragging on him for that. I mean, I wouldn't say I ragged on him. I felt like he should have kept 7 Minute Drill to himself. But with all the shit that Kendrick ended up saying about Drake and the shit that Drake was saying about Kendrick, we could have possibly heard some allegations towards J. Cole that we didn't want to hear, you know what I mean? Because we didn't think of none of this stuff actually being truthful, but a lot of shit was thrown around, you know what I mean? So J. Cole jumped out at the right time. And I do believe that, like, J. Cole is one of the best artists, regardless of him bowing out. I had this discussion one day with somebody, and they were saying how J. Cole isn't a South artist. And that's because I said that J. Cole is one of the best artists ever from the South. And the person was like, we don't consider him South. We don't listen to him. And I'm like, they said we don't consider North Carolina South. North Carolina is South, right, Rob?
Carolina is the South. Actually, it's the most southern point of North Carolina. Fayetteville is the South.
Fayetteville, right?
Yes,
so Fayetteville specifically. When I was a kid, my mom was sending me to Fayetteville to go stay with my family during the summer. And I remember being told I was going down south. So I just thought it was like the viewpoint of how people view North Carolina, or not even North Carolina, how they view certain artists from certain places. Because if you look at the Baby, right? Nobody questions if the Baby is a South artist. Nobody questions if Petey Pablo is a South artist. They both from North Carolina. I think, where's Petey Pablo from? Greensboro?
Somewhere up in there, Greensboro, but it's actually further north than Fayetteville is.
All right, so look, that's the thing. A lot of people confuse what they listening to or what they jacking on their block for what the world is jacking, right? Because there's not one type of listener when it comes to hip hop. Like, I'd be damned if somebody said that JID ain't South. You know what I'm saying? He might not have the same listeners as, you know, Young Nudy, but he has a different class of motherfucker that comes from the South. You feel me? And I think that people try to rag on J. Cole just because of his style of how he raps. But at the same time, like, if you look at an Andre 3000 or Big Boy or even Goody Mob, they came up with lyricism. You feel me? So I felt like when people say J. Cole ain't South, they try to say lyricism ain't South. And I don't agree with that. You feel me? But shouts out to J. Cole. I feel like he gonna be all right in all of this. Other than that, we got the Ross versus Game shit, which threw me for a loop. I didn't understand it. Like, I seen Game drop. What was it called, Roz?
The Revenge.
Freeway's
Revenge.
Freeway's Revenge, right? And I think it was a play on what? It was a play on Freeway Ricky Ross, the original, you know, the dude that was the hustler. He went to prison and all of that for what he did. I think they kind of modeled the show Snowfall after Freeway Ricky Ross, you know what I'm saying? It was something about his name, and when I seen that, I was like, yo, bro, like, that shit was over 10 years ago. Like, Game can't be that mad, right? And this one thing about Game, I don't never question Game's ability. Game could rap his ass off from day one. He still could rap now, 20 something years later. He's a legend in the game, but I just thought that didn't make any sense. I'm like, what the fuck do it got anything to do with Rick Ross and Game? Like, where did that come from, right? And I also felt like, you know, a lot of the shit that he said in the diss is stuff that not only we already knew, but like, it's not really a thing. I feel like anybody who says anything about Rick Ross being a former correctional officer, now don't get me wrong, when that shit happened and he denied it, when 50 Cent first went at him, if Instagram existed or just social media existed the way it does today, it would have been really bad for Ross. But, you know, later on, he did admit to being a correctional officer at a point in time in his life. And this is things that we already know about him. So it wasn't really nothing that struck out to me that I was like, oh shit, like I can't believe he said that. It was more so like Game's like lyrical ability, which we know Game could body shit when it comes to the bars. You feel me? Like nobody questions that, but Game, that shit was nothing but a distraction, bro. And I don't think Drake needed no tag teams. You know what I mean? And same way how Kendrick ain't need no tag teams. You know what I mean? On Drake. Like I felt like Rick Ross's this. You know what I mean? Champagne Moments, I believe it was, or Champagne. I can't remember what the name of that shit was, but whatever it was, we didn't need that. Like it was a distraction from what was actually going on between Drake and Kendrick, and we needed them to keep their targets on one another. I think that's one of the things that distracted Drake in the battle was all the outside talk about Future and motherfucking Metro Boomin and who else? ASAP Rocky, and everybody had all something to say when we really just wanted to see the heavyweight bout. You feel me? We're gonna talk about some music today too, right?
Yes, definitely want to talk about some music. That new
who dropped? Gunna.
Right?
Gunna
dropped.
So look, Gunna dropped the album 101. First off, let's get to what everybody is gonna say first and foremost. What's Gunna's status? How do we look at him as an artist now of all of this shit with YSL and this and that and the third? I'm gonna tell you like this. It was a point in time, you know what I mean, in my early media career where I kind of jumped in the lane and started talking about all that stuff what people had going on personally, but I stepped out of that because ultimately I'm here to see these dudes be artists. I don't really have too much to say regarding their social statuses or their personal statuses. If I'm gonna rate an artist just based on their music and unbiasedly, I'm gonna rate them personally on, well, not personally, I'm gonna rate them on their music, right? Now, some of their personal life might leak into the music, but other than that, I'm staying away from all of that shit, you know what I'm saying? And with that being said, we gotta talk about Gunna's consistency, right? Because when you look at this album 101, you look at The Gift and the Curse, you know what I'm saying? You look at DS4, or you look at One a Season, all of these different albums that he's done come with in the past couple of years, he's been consistent. I don't think Gunna has missed. And let's call a spade a spade. I was one of the people that was really critical of Gunna years ago for not having his own big hit record. Now, not saying that Gunna don't have records or he didn't have records. What I felt is like when he made Hot, he gave that the hottest fucking record to Thug. Now, we all know that it's Thug's record, but why are we there for? We there for Gunna, right? Then he had a record with Nav that I felt should have been his. So one of the things that I always was critical of Gunna of is having features on his singles, or, you know what I'm saying, giving his best verses to somebody else's single and not having that definitive moment for itself. But on The Gift and the Curse, he came with Fuck You Mean. Fuck You Mean is an undeniable record, right? Undeniable record. It's not too much that we could say regarding Fuck You Mean other than it's a banger, right? Then on this one, he got the What's Happening record, right? Now, with the What's Happening record, it's starting to move. I think he just dropped the video today, and that shit is out there. But go and listen to Gunna's music. You know what I'm saying? There's depth there. I seen somebody say that Gunna is one of the best MCs, and when I looked in the comments on one of these suggestions, it was so many people saying what, like, and all it told me was that people did not listen to Gunna's music, because if you listen to his music, beyond just making songs for the club, he has depth. You know what I'm saying? There's a record on there. Hold on, I gotta pull it up real quick. I gotta pull it up because I gotta talk to y'all about this shit, because I really like this record and my mind be all over the place and I can't remember the name of it. That does not mean that it's not a good record, but the name of this record is titled Time Reveals and Be Careful What You Wish For, right? It's the last record that's on Gunna's album. And on that record, you know, Time Reveals, he's basically talking about like all the people who switched on him, you know what I mean, for obvious reasons, and how, you know, now he's on his own and doing his thing, and it really put his back against the wall and how he had to push forward. But not only that, he talks about, you know, wishing to be in a position to just take care of his family. And now that he does, he has problems, but they rich problems. So he's grateful for them. And I think that when you listen to this album, you got to listen with an open ear. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. Stop being critical about shit that you do not listen to. I seen so many people, when I said some shit about the album on Twitter, I'm not being paid by nobody to talk about no music. You feel me? I do this shit for myself, which in turn is for y'all. I create here and I give it to y'all. But when I seen like the stuff that people were saying, is like, oh, it sounds just the same. I'm like, yo, just listen to this shit. Give it a few listens before you make such a critical, like, definitive boom. You know what I mean? But I do believe that if you can call something trash in one listen, you can call something fire. This album is fire. And that's 101. So
you realize that Gunna is now on Spotify's top 20 most streamed artists list.
Impressive. And that's what I'm saying about Gunna, right? Like, when it comes to the music that he's making, he's cutting through. And let's keep it a band. He ain't got no friends. He ain't got the features that he used to have. Ain't nobody posting his shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the last album, The Gift and the Curse, it should have been nominated for a Grammy for Rap Album of the Year. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if he gets that nod going in next year. Because talk about consistency, talk about music, talk about even lyrics, right? And lyricism comes in various shapes and sizes. So when I say Gunna has lyrics, don't think, oh, but he don't rap like he don't rap like J. Cole, or he don't rap like Benny the Butcher. Everybody has a space that they occupy. Gunna's occupying a space. I think not only for the music, but the stats that he putting up. We're gonna see, you know what I mean, where his album lands when it comes to charting, because I think he's gonna do numbers. Feel me? Let's talk about that post that Diddy put up, right? So Diddy put up a post. I think, how many days ago was that, right? Like last week he put up a post.
It was like the end of last week.
The end of last week. And basically he put up a post saying, you know what I mean, show love. It was like some kid that used to do all of these videos and shit. Like, he's doing skits before, like, skits became a popular thing. And he just was saying, show love, nigga. You can't show a nigga love. And the thing about it when it comes to Diddy is this, right? I don't subscribe to the whole no Diddy, I guess we could call it a movement at this point, because there's a lot of people that's riding with that shit, pause. And I don't subscribe to that. And the reason why I don't is because only thing that I do know about Diddy is that these are all allegations. I don't know him personally. I will say that again. I don't know this man personally, so I don't know if he's committed any acts, and neither do you. We just know that they're allegations. But when it comes to Diddy being an artist, let's backtrack for a second. We know what he's provided for us as an artist, as a CEO, the inspirations he's given us, right? And if something deters that or changes in the future, then it does. But as of right now, we ain't gonna act like we don't love Diddy, right? With that being said, you feel me? This is I'll Do It Myself. I do have a team that's behind the scenes, that's on here with me, that's working the boards and everything. But I just want to tell y'all, man, please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for rocking with me, and for the ones that don't, eventually you will. I'll do it myself, y'all. Peace.